Also, today I'm going to talk about a very sensitive topic in hip hop that a lot of new people or new hip hop fans don't understand or don't wish to understand, which, in my opinion, is very important if you are a hip hop fan, whether new or old. And that is that a lot of newer generation thinks that you don't need to listen to the older albums in order to understand hip hop. They think you can just go ahead, listen to some mumble rap albums or some Lil Uzi Vert albums, and you can understand hip hop, and you're a hip hop fan or you're this and that, which is completely wrong. And one thing I need to like make clear is the fact that I am 19, so I'm very young, and I went back and listened to a lot of albums that are landmark in hip hop music. 1988's Straight Outta Compton is a landmark in hip hop. Um, then Ice Cube's career, landmark. All of his first two albums, well, first three albums arguably, but the debut album is a landmark. America's Most Wanted, landmark. I listened to that album. The Chronic by Dr. Dre is a landmark in hip hop. It is top three albums of all time, hip hop albums. You need to listen to that album. 94 Illmatic, landmark in hip hop. Well, I skipped over some albums which also can be considered as landmarks. For example, Tribe Called Quest, Low End Theory, and the Roots albums, and there are a lot of other albums in between, Ghetto Boys albums. So these are groups, but I'm talking about solo acts right now. So 95's All Eyes on Me by Tupac, uh, even in 94, Notorious B.I.G.'s debut album, 97's Life After Death, that is a landmark in hip hop. And then the 2000, the early 2000, 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying, or T.I.'s first few albums. So subsequently, there are a lot of albums that are considered as landmarks. Especially, there are a lot of albums in the 90s that are considered as landmarks. Some 80s albums are also considered as landmarks in hip hop, but a lot of 90s albums are considered to be few of the greatest albums of all time. So one day I commented on a video, I think it was a Damas Live video, and these days a lot of Joe Biden controversies happening. So I posted a comment about something defending Joe Biden, and I was at his side, of course, because I like his media career and I love his music. So I try to defend his comments and what he's doing, and I was hoping well for Joe Biden. So a lot of people came at me and they told me that I'm an old head and I don't know shit about hip hop and this and that. I was literally laughing at their comments like, I'm 19. Maybe you guys are older than me. Like, people who are older than me are calling me an old head just because I try to defend a artist who has given his all to hip hop and is now making his way out of hip hop and is branching to bigger things. Like, Joe Budden is the hottest thing in hip hop right now. Like, there is no one hotter than hip hop, Joe Budden in hip hop. Like, so I branch away a little bit, but there are certain albums that from the 90s that you need to listen to in order to understand hip hop. I compare hip hop to a never-ending math question. Like, you need to understand the first few steps to understand the dynamic of the question. Like, someone, for example, someone solved half of the question and he gives you the question and tells you to solve the other half. You will have to go back and check the steps he followed to come up with the answer. You can't just go ahead and solve the question by your own self if you don't know the question or the system or anything about that question. Again, you need to understand the first few steps that the person who was solving the question took. The same way in hip hop, there are certain albums from the 90s that you need to listen to in order to understand, in order to have a well understanding of hip hop. They might sound outdated, but that doesn't mean they are whack. A lot of, like Illmatic, if you listen to Illmatic today, it is definitely outdated. Sound is outdated, in my opinion, and there are certain tribe albums that I think are outdated, but there are like All Eyes on Me by Tupac. I don't think that album is outdated. Even if you listen to it today, it has a very refreshing sound, and you can listen to that album. It has a replay value. For a lot of people today, Illmatic doesn't have replay value, but that doesn't mean you have the right to disrespect the album, because it was a very big landmark in music. Straight Outta Compton, if you listen to it today, it isn't a great album, but it was a huge thing in the 80s and the early 90s. The way these dudes, like, they were rapping about social issues, and they were the first to start the hood news um, thing in hip hop, and no one was as violent as them before. Of course, Ice-T has had albums before Eazy-E and Straight Outta Compton, but Ice-T didn't contribute to the genre of gangster music that much. Like Eazy-E and Ice Cube are the pioneers of gangster music. They were consistent. Well, you can make the argument that Ice-T was not a mainstream act, and he was more of an underground act, and he was not selling a lot of records, but it is what it is. So this conversation can never end. Like, I can go all night explaining the fact that you need to listen to some older albums, but this video is actually for those people who don't have that much understanding about hip-hop and don't know that much. People like me who don't know that much about hip-hop. You need to go back and listen to certain albums and then make your decision. You don't need to post a comment here defending the fact that you don't need to listen to them or this and that. You can just quietly go and listen to those albums, search about them, go on Wikipedia, learn some things, and you can have a little bit of information. This way you will understand the importance of the album, and you will not disrespect these albums. And when you will not disrespect these albums, you will not cause controversy, and this way your YouTube comments, you will not get dragged. Like, I'm trying to help here in this matter. So again, it is what it is, and this is my opinion. Of course, I think you need to listen to some albums, and they are landmarks in music, and you can make your decision that what album you need to listen to, or you think certain albums, if you should, you shouldn't. It is upon you. You can do whatever you want, but today's music is not the best music. Like, I can tell you something. Like, I was listening to trap music from the last like 6-7 months heavily. Like, I never visited the old albums. I have listened to them prior, but I didn't ever visit those albums again. All I was listening to was Future, Migos, and all of these trap artists. It was having such negative effect on my mind. I'm being real. Like, it had a very negative effect on my mind. I live in Saudi Arabia. A lot of people here are not about that life. Like, we don't move the way these rappers say they do here. So I was constantly listening to these albums and these songs, and there was one thing in mind. There was only one thing in my mind, stuck in my mind. That is it that easy to get money in hip hop? Like, is it that easy for you to go on, make some 2-3 songs, have a banging ass beat, and you can make millions of dollars? Is it that easy to make money? Like, in the country I live, people barely earn $1,000 per month. Like, the lowest salary, like, there are people who earn $500 per month, and they have families that are like, there are 10 family members, and there's only one person earning in the house, and he's earning like $500, $700 at most. So it is not that easy in this country to earn money, and with the taxes and all of this stuff, it is getting very hard for expatriates to live here. So I say that to say these are the issues that are present in America as well. Like people don't earn that much. Like these rappers are making it seem like you can do anything. Like is it they think making a million and 2 million is too easy. I know people in America, in the United Kingdom, that are well educated, that are on good posts, but they don't earn that much. Like they earn 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 per month, which is enough for those people. They think it is great. But if you earn $3,000, $4,000 per month in Saudi Arabia, like 15 to 20,000 reals here in Saudi Arabia, it is like you are one of the richest people. Like you are considered like a god here, that you earn so much, because even the people who are very well educated don't earn that much here. There are not vacancies available for people who are well educated in a country like this. So I say that to say you should branch away from your music. You should have different tastes in music. You need to listen to these albums where these people are talking about social issues. You need to listen to certain artists who are down to earth. For example, LP. I revisited, I know I mention him very frequently on this channel, but I'm an LP stan. I love his music. So I've in like from the last 2 months, I have been listening to a lot of LP music. I went back to his discography. I listened to the Company Flow albums, and I listened to LP solo albums, and Run the Jewels, of course. And I watched his interviews. I realized the fact that this guy is very down to earth, and he really loves what he does. Like he talks about being broke. He talks about the fact that one of his friends died and he stopped making music and he was not able to produce some of his best music, and he was down in life, and there was a time when he didn't have money and all of this. Like he is one of the most down to earth artists or rappers I have ever listened to, and he is like he's phenomenal. You need to go check out either Run the Jewels, like banging ass beats. The beat, I have never heard these beats ever before, even on an LP project. Like Run the Jewels 1 is very different from Run the Jewels 2. Run the Jewels 3 is very different from Run the Jewels 2. I don't know how he does that all the time. Like nothing sounds the same, but it is the same. Like he has a signature sound. Like he will mesh in electronic music, pop music, boom bap music. He has a lot of influences that he um, like meshes together, and it comes up with a very phenomenal solution. So again, I touched certain topics in this video, but the main topic was that you need to listen to certain artists to make your mind grow. So don't get stuck in life. Music is something which is debatable, which is arguable, but there are certain things or certain albums you need to listen to, and I'm sorry about that if you don't like it, but it is the truth. So again, I make a lot of videos here, so you can drop a comment down below. You can share your opinion, of course. And I am not the most popular like hip hop channel on YouTube. Hell, I don't even got like 10 subscribers, but I certainly make quality videos, and there's a lot of effort that is being put into these videos. So please consider subscribing if you like the video. I have several other videos. I actually used to run another channel. I had a lot of subscribers there, but that channel went down. YouTube took it down for some reason, so I started this channel again. So I downloaded a lot of videos from there and uploading them here. So again, thanks for watching and have a great day.